They don't have that many scenes together in the movie, but we tried to convey in the few short scenes that they have together is that they have a very close relationship.
He's motivated by his extreme love for his wife. He wants better things for his wife. He wants to be able to create a better life for them and to make her happy.
Sonic just became the coolest thing in coffee with our new iced coffees with cold foam, iced caramel lattes, and Oreo coffee chillers with soft serve. You pick me up just got a whole lot cooler. Try Sonic cold coffees today.
Por eso sería mejor que hicieras justo lo que decimos.
Okay, here's a video of what fire looks like
Hay
in
una
zero
cadena de
gravity.
acontecimientos que debe ponerse en marcha. El futuro pende de un hilo.
And with one character is sort of the center of the movie, the Moss character. Here it's shocking in the book as well that the Josh's character seems to be kind of the main guy gets killed off stage as it were in the book, and not even by the bad guy, and he doesn't even get to meet, but by some nameless schmoes. Yeah, although it's kind of shocking and unconventional, and it's connected to what the story is about, which is the world is a horrible, unforgiving creature's place, and it doesn't, conform to one's expectations
No sé qué estás
or
pensando hacer, pero
certainly,
no lo hagas.
valor
No querrás
conventions.
ver lo que hay al otro lado de esa puerta.
No puedes imaginar siquiera el gran mal que podrías desatar.
Then what is it about it? Who is it about?
And he thinks he'll never be caught, that nobody will ever.
No, I don't think I think he thinks there's going to be obstacles, but for a guy who's been in Vietnam twice and gone through two tours, I think he feels resourceful enough to be able to pull it off. He doesn't think there's going to be some, this mythological, Shigor, death incarnate.
Who are you?
I am followers of evil. I am the embodiment of violence. So, would you call it still?
¡Moxes!
I'm from the Spanish actor and my agent. She asked me who you would like to work with.
Misión
I said the Fine Boy.
completa.
I knew that never
Alteración
was going to
temporal
happen because the Fine always
El
play
futuro
these super fun American stories. And then when they come to me and they asked me to do this, I was really pleased. I was really surprised. And then I sat down and I read the script and I didn't get it. And I said, this is crazy. And they said, we want you to play this character.
Did you say to them, I don't like violence?
Yeah.
I don't like to speak English much.
I just because I don't drive, I don't like that. I don't do any of those things. I can do it. And they said, well, that's why we want you, because you can do any of those things. And you may have fun with it.
I was delighted to read that it all came for you in a moment when they gave you that really, really bad haircut.
Since he was my hair, I wasn't very happy because I had to live with that hair for 3 months. I thought he helped me tremendously to understand this kind of methodical, almost mathematical way of approaching his goals. He was so depressed during that time.
Really?
Oh my God.
Because he didn't like doing it?
He was like, look at my hair. Fuck. You know what I mean?
That's depressive.
Look at this.
Oh, my God. He plays
A
good psychopath.
What's interesting about that character in the novel is that Cormac McCarthy keeps the reader really completely off balance in terms of who that character is. The character is not tragic at all.
Abre la puerta. ¡Ay! Me estoy confundiendo. Malditos sean estos delirios inducidos por el ciento que
His name is Chigurh, Chigya. Well, that moment, we tried to find a name that was intentionally untraceable, sort of ethnically or in terms of nationality or
¿Qué puedo decir?
the idea
Me
is
gustan
that
los dulces de
the
siempre.
character is in many ways a mystery in the book, and the sort of cast in terms of casting the character was how do you sort of make that character dynamic and real and compelling, but preserve part of that mystery.
We realized that we don't need to know everything about Anton Chigurh because that's his power. You cannot really understand him completely. He doesn't need to be explained. The challenge was to create this person who would feel nothing. He would follow his own ethics, no matter what. And he would do against his own will. Because that's the part. Like it's something beyond his control or other things. Just things.
The question was for Javier how he brought humanity to this villain, this character.
I don't think he has any humanity, though. I think that he's mature. but it's too that you have to find something that is down to earth for people to get related to him. Otherwise, you will see a machine going on like the Terminator, and you won't feel anything for him. It's like I don't see him as a guy with some personal needs or desires, wishes. It's just a man beauty that has to be done. And Toshiro only gives me one thing is faith, and he uses this fun to show the other people that their life and death is destiny. So he's kind of doing everything. That scene could have been the worst scene just because of the simplicity of the scene. It just the consequences. It's the
Voy a trabajar cuando por todas partes me atormentan las voces de los malditos y los condenados.
But to play the scene, I see how good the actor is played. Because he really plays fear and security to a different level. It will kind of be one of the most golden laws in acting. When you are to play a king, you don't have to act like a king. You have to make sure that people around you treat you like a king. Kings don't always live. You got that level like that. But people around you have to be good. The scary part of the thing, not so much my character, but we have to recreate fear in this way. There are things that must be done to create a better world. Let's keep thinking a better world. These things is a world where people don't know everything to do. So when he says that you run into it, that is a chance. Like, wow, that's not good. Right.
Hey, I mean Tails, I mean outside.
Doug. Imagine if we could tell everyone here that Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance to save people hundreds.
Mimo, it's a mascot.
Oh, what's this? A fan has run out onto the field and he's not wearing pants.
The birds need pants?
How do you know? And the control room censored it.
Only pay for what you need.
Kelly, your scene, your final scene where you face with Shiguro, how scared did you really feel after playing?
All it takes is just opening the bedroom door with that first rehearsal and just doing Maria sitting in the chair and it was just so evil. It was just there and I felt I was sort of realizing, she wasn't such an actor, she what my date was just working with career, I was just that attitude of like, I'm just going to play a game.
Right then, that's the scene. Yeah. He's in the shadows, just looking at her. He feels this, I can't help this. And she's like, no, yes, you can. I really fall for it. So then, I remember seeing that video. Check on the whole audience. The whole everybody's, oh,
I always figured when we got older, God, would come into my life. He didn't.
Tommy Lee Jones is the main character of that movie to me, and that is about a guy who time has passed him by, and he's basically chasing a ghost the whole movie. That's why he never sees the guy. And the last words of the serial killer guy there,
You didn't see me.
Me siento como si tuviera más poder.
I feel like that he was chasing the ghost. That's why when he was standing behind the door, he wasn't there. I need to kill him. Oh, yeah. The ghost he's chasing is the past and the way the things were. And that's why he had that speech in the end. I felt like he can't even get his head around the level of violence that's going on. You know,
You see it as optimistic reading or more depressing?
To me, when I watched the movie, I wanted to go just with the minutes. I wanted to go, learn the lesson of wanting to live the moment that you live in. It's totally extremely inferior because you never know what's going to be around the next corner. So I didn't see it that way.
When it's set up, written and directed by Joel Nathan-Cohen, how does that work exactly? How do you work with two directors and how do they handle dealing with actors?
But the parts are like the same person with two heads. The two heads and one body. I've never seen them get in an argument, which I can't believe. I literally can't believe.
You're lucky to get one good director on
Everybody wants to know about the tones in the shot. It's not really an affectation. They don't do a lot of listening to passion for that. I mean, it should be shot. As far as violent goes, it's different. Really different from everything.
No Country for Old fucking movie. That's the best movie of all time. I love that movie. That movie has no music in it. I love that.
Okay, you got the gift?
Yep, $1 magic re-gifted and ready to go.
Oh, your sister likes to make a sourdough.
Oh, whatever. I don't even know who got us this stupid thing.
We really like ours so much that we
Want to get away?
Funny thing about freedom, like this.
Now you can. Slow fares to over 100 destinations.
This morning on a coast-to-coast broadcast of Mutual Broadcasting, it is our pleasure to pay tribute to a gentleman who's sitting at our microphone here now. I'd like to repeat again that tribute before we start this little discussion. We said this morning, one of America's grand old men has a birthday this week. He will be 98 years old Friday. Thank you, sir. Lacking only 2 years of being a century old. I think it's safe to say that no one in the world, living today, has looked at the things this man has seen. No man will ever see him again. For William Henry Jackson is part and parcel of America's old West. It is 75 years ago, way back in 1866, that he worked his way west on the Oregon Trail with a bow. He was the first man who ever took pictures in the elephant. With his camera, with his able bright, his photographs, the river of our early West, there would not exist brothers. He went as a bow hunter with the Mormons to Salt Lake. He was with a Mail Street outfit that lugged stuff over the mountains to a little village called Los Angeles. He rode herd on Mustangs around another little village called Omaha. Because this man had the eye of an artist and the instinct of a historian, we have a better understanding today of the beginning of our great West. Much of the development aided by his work. The magnificent and full life you've had, William Henry Jackson, and his...
Cansado de hacerte paja solo.
Brother. Aqui como que estão criando?
I didn't tell her. Now, just when did sheep begin to compete seriously with cattle? Oh, long and late. And can tell us, in your own words, some of these things that I know you would like to have us know. Well, on your last trip across the West, did you notice any changes in the character and the vigor of the grass from that which you observed in the 70s? Well, that's been called to my attention lately by modern pictures that people have sent me from the Conservation Society. There it was called to mind the great difference with the luscious grass that we used to camp on, which are now just the plain.
19.5.
Steve discovered the best.
I wondered why certain people just feel good, even though they're just being human. It's not the clothes or the makeup or the costumes, but I think it's the ability to choose differently in a way that tells you what's right. Most people's tastes are built by algorithms and they feel like people. But there's a reason why people with real taste seem a little bit more.
¡Edward! ¿Qué estás haciendo? ¡Abre la puerta!
There's this strange divide.
¡Edward! ¡Abre esta puerta ya! ¡No lo hagas! ¡Samantha, no te alejes! ¡Adiós, doctor!
I think the difference between interesting people and normies isn't really about looks. It's about taste. I love the kind of taste that trends on Pinterest or shows a feed. I mean, real taste, that quiet, intentional kind of taste that you build over years when you actually pay attention to what moves you. You see, most people don't build themselves. They almost assemble themselves.
¿Dónde está? Ese asqueroso, apestoso, inmundo alemán. Estaba aquí. Ahora se fue. Pagará por lo que hizo. Ya lo creo que pagará.
But most cool or interesting people, they don't chase. They notice when the illness feels and gives them a really these little things, they notice the tone, the atmosphere, the way a certain thing feels and they trust that instinct and they follow it again and again until it becomes a language.
People at a beach party in Florida are illegally drinking alcohol.
Sir, I can take home. No, he's going to jail. Are you serious? Yeah, there's lots of signs. We're enlisting in the military. Okay. Congratulations. Explain that to your recruiter. No, I'm not going to. Yeah, we're going to need some more people. What do you do? Going to jail. What? Those guys saw you doing something. They told me to come and put you in handcuffs. Not for you. Are you going to tell him? What are you going to tell him? You don't. So you're going to the army. This congratulations. We already did our medical. Okay. He's going to jail.
There's plenty of other scenarios.
Great. If it was empty, then what was the problem? It wasn't empty. The camera. I just poured it out. I was picking up the towels from man, and then he grabbed me. You were picking up the towels. We're not discussing it. Our recruiter, please. We're discussing with your recruiter. Great. There's a discuss. You cannot. He's going to jail. I don't have to tell you. Great. That's it. So much time. So you're not going to answer the question? No, I'm not. What was he touching me for? Back up. Hey, don't come walk up on me. So now you make some profile, right? So I'm going to jail. What is he going to jail for?
Kaiser Permanente Medicare and Medicaid health plan. Everything we do starts with you. Your doctors listen, your team knows your story, and you get extra help when you need it.
Hi everybody, welcome to this channel. I am Cookie. Today is and not a regular uploader because usually I upload on Sunday every single week. But there is a topic that I actually would love to share with you all, and that is about damsel in distress. Damsel in distress is actually an archetype that describes people, individuals who kind of seem to never being able to get out of
Professor Zhang, he just uploaded a video on how Paul
I mean, he passed away from all he couldn't walk, his legs were broken, his back was broken, my mom's neck was broken. Every day she would tell me, like, because he broke the back of her neck, every day she would tell us kids, like, oh, my neck could crack any day and I could go. Like, she would just tell us that all the time.
Why are you guys laughing? What the fuck?
I don't mind.
Because it's
I don't
just like
mind anyone
so.
laughing.
I'm still waiting for the actual murder in question.
Can somebody Google Don't you like die if your neck breaks?
You can be paralyzed and still live.
Okay.
I mean, you can live when your neck breaks. You can live with a broken neck and wear a cage.
I mean, look, there are definitely like abusive people out there that are physically abusive. I'm going to go ahead and just grant all of it. My only hang up here is the contribution of his physical abuse to the actual deaths of these people, right? So with the first, you said he murdered these people, right? But then the first one you provided, you said
Que trabaja duro, suda, pero con Old Spice suave yo no sudo, y por eso el coach no cree que le pongo ganas. Entrené muy duro con mi Old Spice y logré convertirme en el mejor jugador. A veces, un hombre tiene que...
Al Capone is remembered primarily as the most emblematic figure of American organized crime in the early 20th century. A name inseparable from prohibition, bootlegging, and the violent turf wars of Chicago's underworld. Yet beneath the notoriety lies a set of implicit guiding principles, an informal philosophy that shaped his decisions, ambitions, and style of leadership. Capone never articulated a coherent philosophical system, nor did he pen long reflections outlining a worldview. However, through his actions, interviews, recorded statements, and the cultural environment that molded him, it is possible to trace the contours of a philosophy built around survival, opportunity, loyalty, and a calculated understanding. This philosophical reconstruction reinforcement of his method, but an attempt to understand the deeper logic that underpinned the behavior of one of America's most infamous historical figures. His philosophy was not born out of abstract theory, but forged in the pressures of
Desafortunado giro de los acontecimientos. La muerte del alemán es lamentable. Me temo que el camino que hay por delante sea más traicionero que antes.
Is to explore our harsh environment and shape personal ethics that differ radically from mainstream moral expectations. Cohen's early life in Brooklyn's immigrant neighborhood was steeped in the practical realities of survival. For many children growing up in these districts during the early 1900s, these traditional social institutions, schools, churches, community groups, often failed to provide stability and upward mobility. No sé dónde está, pero sigo siendo leal. Esto nunca debo olvidarlo. Economic opportunity, community belonging, and protection. A diferencia de la otra máquina, esta da dulces. ¿Por qué? A world where morality is subordinate to necessity, and where social success is measured not by the traditional virtues of honesty or conformity, but by one's ability to command respect, acquire, and protect oneself and one's purpose. In this sense, his philosophy was grounded heavily in pragmatic realism. Life is not fair, he believed. Therefore, one should not force to play by the rules designed by those who already possess privilege and reason solid. This perspective shaped his most enduring belief that the law was not the moral guide, but merely a tool used by the powerful against the powerful. At the core of Cohen's philosophy was a deep skepticism of
acosados por espíritus. Temo que no sean los de mis antepasados.
Policing, enforced corruption, reinforced the notion that legality and morality were not equivocal. The Cohen's department years further strengthened his belief as he navigated the political landscape with bribery, selective enforcement, and the backroom deal were everyday reality. In such an environment, Cohen concluded that those who held power did not do so because of righteousness, but because of their ability to outmaneuver freedom. Thus, his philosophy treated power as fundamentally relational, a constant negotiation of influence, leverage, and reputation. He understood that power did not exist in a vacuum. It required acknowledgement, fear, or admiration from others. His well-known and public image presented himself as a generous, charitable figure was not merely publicity, but part of a deeper belief that power must be accompanied by legitimacy. A person who is feared but not respected is unstable, and one who holds both will shape the world around.
Are you guys here for the information? Oh no, we're here to help you protect my safe living neutral. That's what you see? Yes.
Me siento infundido de algo.
No matter how you use energy,
This emphasis on public legitimacy connected closely with the Cohen's belief in the value of faith as a form of soft power. He cultivated a strong and blended aspect stability or intimidation. For many working-class citizens of Chicago, he appeared as a system that was already failing. Offering goods and services that the government had denied through prohibition for economic neglect. This perception helped shape a philosophical stance in which moral evaluation was tied directly to social function rather than legality. If an action provided benefit to the community, even outside the law, it could be justified. Capone support for soup kitchens during the Great Depression, for instance, reflected his belief that ethical behavior was measured by tangible impact rather than abstract principles. He takes much of the impact over strategic manipulation and an undeniable purpose. Yet Capone also figured as demonstration of a leadership to his community. This ultimate changed morals in a civil tool shaped by circumstances, not with Capone's philosophy also exhibited a strong commitment to loyalty as both practical and moral principle. Within his operational hierarchy, loyalty was the foundation upon which trust, survival, and success rest. The volatile nature of gang alliances, police informants, and rival mobs meant that betrayal had extensive consequences. Loyalty, therefore, became more than emotional allegiance. It was a form of social currency and a protective mechanism. Capone's harsh punishment for betrayal and his generosity towards his associates both stem from the same belief that stability and an instance
Pero qué boludo que sos, hermano.
is unwavering bond of mutual obligation. This mirrors a broader philosophical theme common in groups formed under adversity. Where loyalty, substitute for the reliability normally provided by stable social institutions.
Man, eso es un choto de mierda.
Laws fail and governments fail. But loyalty, when a tight-knit group, can remain constant. Another important dimension of Capone's philosophy concerns his view of violence. Capone did not celebrate brutality for its own sake. Instead, he treated violence as a necessary instrument within a world defined by competition and scarcity. To him, violence was neither morally righteous nor inherently evil. It was simply another tool available within the landscape of power. This instrumentalist view sees violence as legitimate when used efficiently and strategically. His well-known quote, "You can get much farther with a kind word with a gun than with a kind word alone," encapsulates this belief. It illustrates his understanding that persuasion requires a balance between incentives and consequences, between diplomacy and force. This dual-sided approach reflects a philosophy of action grounded in pragmatism. Do what works, not what fits an external moral framework. Violence was not a desire, but an inevitability within the competitive structures of Prohibition-era organized crime. Interestingly, despite his criminal activity, Capone's philosophy included a belief in order and stability.
Ese asqueroso, apestoso, inmundo alemán. Estaba aquí, ahora se fue. Pagará por lo que hizo, ya lo creo que pagará.
Capone considered himself a regular reformer, someone who imposed order where official mechanisms failed.
Okay, here's a video of what fire looks like in zero gravity. Oh. How?
The irony of a criminal advocating order is explained by his belief that uncontrolled chaos undermines business, invites greater law enforcement interference, and destabilizes personal methods.
¿Esto es lo que comen los niños occidentales? No me extraña que estén tan flacos.
Retaining almost explicit corporate vision of organized crime. Streamlined,
Maldita confusión. Debo recordar mi misión. ¿Por qué estoy aquí? La máquina de guerra del enemigo debe ser destruida.
The organization structure demonstrated his belief that discipline was essential for any successful enterprise, legal or illegal. Disorderly and weak invited life. One of the more complex components of Capone's philosophy was his view of opportunities in America. Capone saw the United States as a land where ambition was rewarded not by virtue, but by admission. If society presented legal avenues for advancement, constitution. But if society failed to provide such avenues,
Bien, Nikolai, busca algo de munición.
This perspective reflected an immigrant opportunity, warped by urban reality.
Puede que no sea cero ruso, pero funcionará.
Filtered through the lens of marginalization.
Debo encontrar la forma de sobrevivir a esta pesadilla. Quizá estas máquinas me ayuden a deshacerme de las malditas hordas.
Seizing opportunities, outmaneuvering competition, and arising from poverty to influence, indetermination, and resources. This belief represented a distorted, yet strangely consistent interpretation of American individualism. The idea that the individual has the right to carve out their own destiny was governed by structural barriers. Capone's downfall, marked by his conviction for tax evasion, reveals another philosophical layer rooted in his misunderstanding of institutional resilience. He believed that the government, immigration, intimidation, or certain bribery and influence. What he failed to appreciate was that institutions, unlike individuals, have long-term structural momentum. In other words, Capone misjudged the nature of systemic power. But this philosophy excelled into personal and immediate power dynamics. But personally, he recognized the inherent reform of not
munición máxima. Máxima munición igual a máxima muerte.
unnecessarily limitations to a worldview stood primarily for the immediate pragmatism rather than long-term strategic foresight. Ultimately, Capone's defeat is not violent display of political enemy, but by a system of institutional logic that he underestimated. Capone's legacy raises important questions about the relationship between environment and personal philosophy. His wealth experience in isolation and reflects the broader economic, political, and cultural pressures of early resistance to America. Resistance, corruption, immigration struggles, and urban poverty all contributed to shaping a philosophy where survival justified confrontation and method. Capone represents this study in our freedom and produce alternative ethical traits, frameworks that function coherently within their own context. even as a violent, conventional moment. His philosophy demonstrates that the line between legality and morality, between leadership and coercion, can blur under the weight of systemic pressure. Putin uses Alfred's philosophy
No tengo
with an
fe en que esto
implicit,
vaya a ofrecer mucho
action-based
sustento.
worldview built on pragmatism, loyalty, experiential power, and adaptation to harsh societal conditions. It is not a codified doctrine, but a set of guiding principles shaped by the upbringing, environment, and the chaotic socio-political landscape of prohibitionism. His philosophy centered on the
Solo un
belief
imbécil bebería
that
algo
power
tan horrible.
is the ultimate currency, that legitimacy can be crafted through image and community engagement, that loyalty depends on flexibility, and that morality must bend to the realities of survival. Understanding
Esto
this
será útil
philosophy
para hacer
does not
agujeros a las
require
bestias
admiration
infernales.
or condemnation, rather holds for an analytical approach to how individuals interpret their environment and construct personal ethics in response to them. Orange worldview illustrates how the pressures of a fractured society can produce alternative moral systems that, while incompatible with mainstream values, reveal deeper truths about human resilience, ambition, and the search for control in an unpredictable world.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Sister Van with Fantastic Finances, and on this channel, today we're going to take how the banks are sucking the life out of your finances and how you can stop it. You have a choice. After you see this video today, you have a choice. You are choosing to throw your money out the window.
Siento que mi cuerpo vibra de fuerza.
We need to wake up and we need to take control of our money. When we are sitting back letting stuff like this happen, it's our fault. If you are broke, if you are living paycheck to paycheck, maybe it's because you are looking I worked with a couple of
Bien, ¿quién la regó y soltó a los perros de guerra?
I want you to see how angry it is. If you are to help you come out of debt. You I hope that you have ears to hear and that you will pay attention to how much money this person is drawing They currently have an income of $5,200 a month. They have $4,100 in expenses coming in. This includes their food, their snacks, all their living expenses.
¡Munición máxima! Este ruso está listo y ansioso por ver la sangre.
Let's go from here. They have purchased a home. The purchase price was $150,000. They put down $15,000, which left them a balance of $135,000. Then, of course, they got a mortgage because that's what they tell us to do. You want a home? Get a mortgage. You can buy your home. You can have little bitty baby payments for 30 years. Let's see where that's going to get them. So they started
¡Munición máxima! Suministros para todos, al estilo soviético.
I'm sorry. This video is about what that self-satisfying interest is.
¡Munición!
I want everybody that's along with their contract documents right now. Right now. Go to the closing documents section. Look in the closing documents section of the contract.
Esto sabe a capitalismo. No puedo matarlos con la mente. Necesito munición.
Take that times 2 and having 0. They're going to be paying over 150% interest on this mortgage. Look at your mortgage papers and this couple is going to have a monthly payment of $967.16. In month 1, they're going to pay $871.87 interest alone. How much actually goes towards the house they just bought? $95.28. Are you seeing where I'm going with this? Month 2. Balance. 134. 116. Interest. $871.26. Principal payment. That's actually you see the house that they pay for. $95.90. How long do you think it's going to take them to pay this home off, paying this small little payment towards their actual principal amount? 30 years. So you can't talk and make it calculated, but you can get it. This is going to show you that the actual interest that they're going to pay.
Esta sí que es una reforma socialista.
Interest only. Let's teach you a way to use that and be excited to pay for your home, not pay for bank first. If you're paying this much interest on every single payment,
espero que valga la pena matar mis papilas gustativas.
Throw $871 out the window or down the street.
Es insistente, como un patético capitalista.
This is just you making them listen.
Fuerte rápida, me encanta.
You don't understand the rules of power. You are certainly losing to someone who.
Qué puliado, chabón. Qué puliado. Mal. Cállate, viejo pete.
How can you stop that? What if you took a $10,000 chunk and put
He photographed Che Guevara, wandered the streets of Sao Paulo, Berlin, and Cairo. But unlike other Magnum photographers, his name seems to have faded from the spotlight. And yet, he might be one of the most important street photographers that no one talks about. And he, René Bourri, changed the way I see photography. Because what René Bourri teaches us isn't just about making photos, it's about presence, patience, and ironically, knowing when to disappear. So welcome back to the channel after a brief forced hiatus.
Ya te lo dije, solo me resbalé con toda la sangre derramada.
I worked in Switzerland earlier this year for an exhibition, so I became acquainted with his work there, and then I also have in my collection of things, books and etc., postcards from Magnum, and I kind of came across his name as well. Previous postcards, there are photos of René Dury, and so I decided to kind of dive into his work and see what I could learn from it, and hopefully I was able to put some of that in the video. And so without further ado, drop it in, make yourself comfortable, and let's go straight to the video. René Dury was a Swiss photographer whose life's work spanned across some of the most dramatic moments of the 20th century. And he quite famously captured Winston Churchill on a state visit to Switzerland when he was 13 years old. He then studied at the Zurich School of Applied Arts, where he trained under Ernst Pinsler, Alfred Willemann, and Johannes Ibsen. His color theories is discussed in the video about George Bernstein. By the mid-1950s, so he had joined Magnum Photos and quickly established himself as a photographer of rare empathy and technical skill. He photographed everything from the Cuban Revolution to Picasso in his studio, from the streets of São Paulo to the aftermath of the Berlin Wall's fall. Yet, despite these accomplishments, Dury's name never achieved the household status of peers like Parquet du Sal or Robert Kahn. So while others developed signature styles or published iconic books that cemented their legacy, Maurice floated through history rather quietly and invisibly. He was less interested in self-promotion than in the stories unfolding before his eyes. In fact, he went on to say, quote, "What counts is putting the intensity that you yourself have experienced into the picture. Otherwise, it is just a document." And this philosophy of what I like to say is the disappearing into the scene, of letting the subject and the moment speak for themselves, was really what defined his approach as a photographer. He was content to be an invisible witness, a quiet observer, and to capture the pulse of life without ever drawing much attention to himself. Because it definitely was an era where I think that, or at least the general reception is that the church these days so much more dealing with the concept of being bold, being present, being kind of in your face, having something to say and being sort of original and whatnot. I think it's very interesting to take a step back and look at the work of someone who really praised this ability of being invisible and seeing and conviction really valued the work of someone who wanted to be invisible in the world of today, where we photographers who could post pictures of images and post and whatnot, and of course social media and etc. are very much to be heightened and kind of, active. So I think this is a very important question, and I'd like to tie it in with the work of René Dury, and please for you to think about this as you watch the video, because I wanted to dive into more as well details about his work, but also frame it from the point of view of the lessons that we can take from him.
¡Tráiganme sus almas! Durante mucho tiempo solo he probado pan seco.
This year, there are 4 exciting new iPhones to choose from, including a brand new edition.
Dury was a photographer who believed in the power of presence, patience, and I believe humility, qualities that I like to use also made his work, in my opinion, quite as he once reflected, quote, "My photography is the result of being there and quite confident." His first major publication, The Journey, published in 1962, offered a sensitive humanistic portrayal of post-war Germany, with many intimate and candid images offering a look at a nation rebuilding itself in the aftermath of war. Similar images to those that we saw in the video about Odette Lamont's work. Later in his career, René Dury's work was compiled in retrospective books like René Dury's Photographs, which brings together over 400 images, many previously unpublished, and organizes them into chapters that are organized by themes, taking us from Europe to the Middle East, Vietnam, Latin America, and beyond. Combining famous portraits he made with quieter and more personal moments that reveal the photographer's deep empathy and curiosity for the everyday life. Another title as well worth mentioning is Impossible Related published in 2013, where the photographer himself selectively commentates on his favorite color photographs.
Puta!
Project being therefore a window into his creative process and the stories behind some of his most famous images. So for now, I want to focus on the three main lessons that I've taken from looking at his work. So let's talk first of how disappearing, quote unquote, can make us see more clearly. Also, I reflected on the importance of finding poetry amidst chaos. And the last idea would be being in the moment versus constantly achieving perfection. So about the philosophy of disappearing, I have to say that the philosophy is simple. One must be present, but not in an intrusive way. He believed in disappearing into the scene, letting life unfold naturally before his lens. I walk, I look, I see, I stop, I photograph, he once said. This approach is beautifully captured in his images from Brazil and East Berlin, where people go about their lives unaware of the camera's presence. And that's how I personally like to work, especially when I'm photographing with my 35mm camera myself. And if you ask me, that actually allows me to be more honest with myself because I accept my mistakes and I realize that sometimes the best way to see more clearly is to step back and let the scene speak for itself. And actually, lesson number two is a bit more broad, but in essence, it's on this idea that I find in his photography that speaks of finding poetry within chaos. Because I really believe that he would be one of those photographers with an extraordinary talent for finding order and beauty in the most chaotic scene. His images,
Pero Julia!
composition, because the layers of people, light, and the geometry of the scene really comes together really well in a single frame. But also, I have to reference his image of the rooftop, where again the geometry, the lines, the contrast are really what makes this photo so much more formal.